So hi, this is Dominika from SimplePlan.cz's, and I'm back here with Chuck and Sebastien from SimplePlan.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Awesome. Hi.
Well,
Awesome. That was okay.
we're relaying the
Perfect.
fisting and the
Cool.
high-fiving.
Me and Seb.
So you finally arrived to Prague after
Yeah,
5
I know,
years.
and we managed to get a day off too. Because whenever we
Exactly.
come here, we get in the morning of and we leave right
Time
after
out.
the
It
show.
hasn't been 5 years.
It hasn't been 5 years.
Since
It
the
was
Prague show?
2011, yeah. It's
But it hasn't
2016
been
now.
five. It
It's
hasn't
been
been 5
okay,
years.
okay, 4 and
So
a half.
4 years and a half.
Yeah.
There you go.
4 and a
People have
half,
to.
okay.
I want to squash this whole 5 year.
5 years,
Makes
4
no sense.
years
and a half.
Yeah, so 4.5 years.
Whoa.
Better.
Okay. So what did you see in Prague yesterday?
I went up to the castle area, then slowly walked down to the main square, and then I walked over the bridge, and then I saw the clock, and I saw the thing come out of the clock,
Awesome.
which was amazing.
Yeah.
And then I went to a typical Thai massage place of Prague. Which
Typical
was
Thai
recommended by Steve, our truck driver, and then the lady got on and she pulled my arms like that, and it was great. And then after
So you're
that,
feeling better after that?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then I had some typical Czech food. They
Pizza?
told me no, it was like chicken with fries, and apparently that's very typical of here.
Really?
And then yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
I did the same thing, Sebastian, like minus the chicken and fries and the Thai massage.
But I'm not kidding. Like they said that the chicken and fries was very typical of Czech food.
Really?
Yeah.
It's mostly like sauces and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Pumpkin soup. I had pumpkin soup.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that very
good.
typical?
No, no, no.
The food's been good so far.
They told me I went to a typical Czech restaurant. They brought us to a typical Czech, and it
Well
was.
then, if you enjoyed it, then
I did.
yeah, it's definitely been a Czech,
There you go.
traditional Czech meal.
I walked around, it was beautiful. I mean, like, we've
Quite
seen it
gorgeous.
before. We've been there. I mean, I actually remember last time we didn't have a day off, but I walked around and saw some stuff. But this time I had a little more time, so it was
Yeah,
cool.
it's very
And I
nice.
went at like in the middle of towards the end of the afternoon, so it was like sunshine and it was like nighttime. It was cool. Nice.
Okay, so obviously you're here to support your new album.
Yes.
Which is great, by the way.
Thank
for
you.
the album. It
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
We're playing her song tonight. She really wanted to hear I Refuse, and it just happens that we just right before
It
coming
just
here, we're like,
happened, yeah.
should we play I Refuse tonight? Yes. So that's basically how it went down.
So
Nice.
there's something I want to talk about this album. So there's a couple songs, like lyrical content that's been talked about before. You talk about it in a couple of interviews. And there is Farewell.
Mm-hmm.
And you've mentioned in a couple of interviews that this song has a hidden meaning that's kind of something to do with being in a band.
Hey, you started out pretty brutal, man.
Yeah.
She always goes for the very specific things that
Yeah, but
aren't
like-
He
obvious.
goes for the trope.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with these
I like the nails,
hard
by the way.
questions.
Yeah, no, of course.
Thanks.
It's nice. You see.
It's the backdrop.
It's very
That's
nice.
right.
Oh, it's very nice. All right, look at you. You are
Farewell.
the backdrop.
Thank you. Farewell. So could you elaborate on this?
Yeah. So, Farewell is a song that we wrote towards the end of the process, and we had pretty much a full record, and we just, we were kind of like, we had released some songs that came out, obviously, sort of like the whole way that the record unfolded. And then there was a lot of people that were saying, oh, it's not exactly Simple Plan, it's not like your natural sound. And we had a record that we thought was really strong, really good, but I guess after reading all the comments and kind of listening to what the fans were saying, we kind of sat back and said, you know what, kind of agreed, and it was a little bit of a bummer because we worked so hard on the album for so long, a year and a half, and I think there was a lot of, and like some of the comments were constructive, but some of them were a little harsh, a little bit like now you suck, you're this and that. It's like, right? And not necessarily from our fans, more like sometimes on YouTube and or Facebook or whatever. So it's not necessarily like all like hardcore Simple Plans fans. It's more like fans and maybe casual people that sort of just hear a song or whatever. And obviously, it gets to you. And I think we wrote that song. Well, first of all, we wrote Nostalgic, Farewell, and those three songs at the end to sort of add energy and add a lot of power to the album and make sure that it be more classic Simple Plan. And that song, we were writing it and we were a little bit like pissed off about the situation and we were talking about it and we said, and I had the idea of coming up with the title Farewell, which I thought was cool, and the idea kind of evolved into what if we wrote a song that could be two things. That could be like a more straightforward kind of breakup, love gone wrong, things are going not so good anymore with somebody or whatever. So the kind of typical, more not typical, but just more like a classic sort of.
Let's say, yeah, more relatable. I'd say.
And then we're like, well, you know, maybe there's a like a second layer of meaning that we can do with the song, and we kind of started to imagine. What if, you know, maybe this was the last record and the last song we ever write, and it's sort of like a farewell, or maybe even just a way of saying to the fan that we're not happy anymore. It's kind of like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe we're not for you anymore, and I'm sorry that we couldn't write the album that you wanted, or we couldn't write the song that you love, and, you know, sorry we're not the band that maybe, you know, you used to love, but at some point we have to do what's right for us, and so that's kind of how the idea, you know, comes out. And if you read the lyrics, there's like every line sort of has like you know, when you say like used to scream my name, it could be like a girlfriend, boyfriend, but it could also be more like the crowd, you know what I mean, like stuff like that. So and there's all these little moments in the lyric where you can kind of pick up on the idea of like it could be the two things. So we thought it was special. Obviously, it's not like a message that we're breaking up because the band is done or that we're not gonna play anymore. It's not that. It was just a moment where we kind of felt like. You know, like when you go through your career, there's moments where you imagine, like, hey, maybe we're not gonna be, you know, popular anymore. Like, maybe, you know, there's a chance that maybe people won't care and won't like the band. So you use that as an inspiration to do something, but it's not like I want to squash the rumors going on, and it's not like.
Are there any rumors?
Yeah.
That's my second question.
Yeah. People are saying it's our last. It's the last record, it's the last tour. So that's not true.
That's so interesting because a lot of people ask us like, as well, like, hey, what do you see you guys in like 5 years and 10 years? Like, people still want to come. We still see ourselves doing this. You know, so I find it very interesting that there's rumors like that as well.
Yeah, but I think like for me it was a moment like making this record was difficult, and there was a moment where we just felt that there was some sort of, you know, it was like the people that we knew loved the band kind of, you know, turning on us a little bit, and you know, it kind of bummed us out. It made us sad. It made us like a little upset, and we decided to use music as a way for us to express what was going on. But I think after writing the songs, in a funny way, what's the most ironic about this song is that it's going to end up being all these fans' favorite songs.
And it is.
And that's what
you know?
we actually talked about that. We were saying like, you know, like all these songs are going to become, you know, fans' favorites, and that's awesome. In a way, like, again, our fans, just like they inspired the song Save My Life, they inspired Farewell, and it's awesome. It's cool that we use, you know, we use our emotion and their emotions to try to write better music. And I think that in the end, sorry it's a long answer, but if I was gonna kind of sum up the whole thing, in a way I'm grateful that people pushed us to be better. You know, pushed us to make a, you know, a more solid record, because when I sit back, I don't think it'd be the same album without those 3 songs. And I think I gave the fans credit for kind of telling us that they wanted something more, and I gave ourselves credit to be able to have the energy and have the desire to make the record better and push ourselves. So.
Thank you for the answer.
That's
You actually answered like 3 of my next questions.
Sorry.
Perfect. No, but that's good.
So
you
we
know?
can stop the interview. Perfect. Yeah, we're done.
No, like because like when you said there were these little things, like little notes within the lyrics, because that's what I noticed when I listened to the song, and there were like lines like "we crumbled under all the pressure," and that was the first thing that I imagined, that, you know, you have all this pressure from all your fans, and like it must be really hard on you. So I guess this was a way for you to deal with this.
Yeah, exactly.
It is, you know, it's always been a way for us to deal with it, and you know, I think like Chuck was saying, like, we use music to express ourselves, like, still obviously, and because of that honesty, I think it's made this band who we are, you know, like it's very typical of Simple Plan to have the, you know, kind of like the upbeat music with the deep and emotional or honest lyrics, and that's definitely a good example. That song.
I think it's more real and more raw and more powerful when you actually write about something that matters to you, and this band matters to all of us, and it was a tough process, and sometimes when you have a little bit of, I wouldn't say drama because that sounds bad, but just more like kind of struggle, or, you know, when you're going through like kind of, how do you say that,
Ordeal or what,
like tumultuous times.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the best stuff comes out, and for us, like these 3 songs kind of showed us that, you know, like when you use your own life, it becomes even more inspiring. I mean, I think we always do that. And also, I'm a fan of having songs that have double meaning. We've had them in the past.
Yeah.
Like, we don't always tell people, but like if you listen to a song like Perfect World, for example, it can be read in tons of different ways. And
Kiss Me Like Nobody's Watching as well.
yeah, there's like a different meaning on that, and I think it's cool. People, like most people will say like the first level, but when you know the backstory, it's like every line becomes more interesting and different and becomes like deeper, and I think it's cool. I think the best songs, you know, lots of really great songs have been written that have that kind of thing going on. It's cool.
Now she just has a million new questions.
Right.
What are the other
No,
songs?
we're opening up
Double
kind of
meaning.
worms.
No. I'm gonna end with this hard, topic.
Whatever.
No, it's
You
fine.
can ask us whatever you want.
Yeah. It's like my next question before you started talking about the whole band breaking up thing was actually about because like there were so many rumors about you released a song called Farewell.
Yeah.
And like and all the fans were like, oh my god, are they breaking up? And then
I'll tell you what.
And then wait, sorry.
If we ever do a farewell tour, it's called a goodbye tour. It's called
Please,
farewell.
Yeah, there you
please
go.
don't
It's
do
perfect. You start a song and we finish with it.
Yeah.
And,
No, I got
and
it.
there's just gonna be Farewell in the middle.
Yeah, probably.
Just play it 20 times.
No, because like you posted an Instagram post, I think around New Year's or whatever, and you said something along the lines that there was a period during the process of this album when you actually thought about not being in the band anymore, and I think that's part of the rumors as well. So like, was there like a moment when you said, hey, they're all saying shit about us basically, so like let's talk about it. Should we be in a band anymore? Was there like, did you have a discussion within the band or something like that?
No, it's not like that. It's just when you see, well, not even with the comments, just when you're having a hard time finishing something, because we thought many times we were really close, and then we're like, you know what, it's not right, and we just kept working at it. Then that's when you start to wonder like can we do this? Like, are we still gonna keep? Like, how can we keep going with this? And then that's when you start to find the solution. I don't think we ever considered really not doing it. I think you sort of try to picture how life would be if you weren't doing it, but not really like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I think that no matter what you do in life, you have these moments of doubt.
Of course.
Where you're not sure if you're doing it right, you're not sure. And especially in a band, it's a very fickle sort of what kind of profession being a band member. Like you depend on people supporting you, and you depend on fans showing up at the shows and buying your album and enjoying the music, and that can go away real quick. A lot of bands, you look at them, they got 1, 2 records, 3 records, and it's over.
Yeah.
And you have to stay together as a unit as well. You depend on 4 other people, and so I think there's moments like on every record, I would say, except maybe the first. Well, actually, even before the band got signed, there was moments where we were like, man, are we gonna get signed? Like, are we gonna do this? Are we gonna be able to have a career with this? So there's moments where you think like, should I just give up? And then we make the first record. It didn't happen right away for us. It took like almost a year before we had any kind of like real success. And they're like, well, maybe that's it. Maybe it's over. Like, I think the only time we had no doubts at all was making the second record. Because
Yeah.
we had so much
momentum.
big momentum from the first record, and we just went and then just made it really fast and came back out and was like, of course, like you had that confidence, that high from the first record.
And when we were in the studio recording the second album, then the first album started getting popular in other places, you know, that it still hadn't happened. Like, I remember we were making the second album.
Australia.
And then they're like, oh, you guys are #1 in Australia right now. We're like, shit, we gotta finish this and go there, and we did.
It just felt really, really confident and excited, and then on the third album, that's when you start, like we had toured so much, and you start to kind of, it's like, well, we need to change now. We need to try something different, because if we keep doing the same thing, people are gonna just kind of write us off as just okay, it's the same shit,
And
shit.
music in general was starting to change back then
Yeah,
as well.
so that was a hard record to make, and there's moments in that writing process where we kind of ask ourselves like, fuck, like, are we gonna make this record, like finish it? Is it gonna be good? People are gonna like it? And it was just a tough moment, and we just kind of felt like, holy crap, like I'm not sure that we're gonna get through it. And same thing with the fourth record, we wrote like over 85 songs. Like after 50, we were like, oh my god, do we have to keep writing? I can't. It's like you had all these moments throughout your career where you kind of wonder like, hey, is this finished? Is this it? But I think what keeps us going is that we really love what we do, and we don't want it to end. We really, really, truly don't. So it's like that's what makes us work harder. That's what makes us want to tour more shows and play more shows and tour more, and so I think that we have a little bit of a. I think this lack of sometimes maybe self-confidence or having doubt made us a better band because we try harder. If you think you're the shit and you're the best band in the world, then the first 10 songs you write will be like, oh, they're perfect, they're good. Like for us, we're always like, I don't know if it's good enough, I don't know if it's good enough. And we keep pushing, you know what I mean?
It is funny how David and I are twinning like really severely today.
Twinning?
Like, just like
yeah.
randomly. I think I'm gonna have to change.
I'll change it.
Just a show.
But I do want to specify
Yes, okay.
because you mentioned rumors. They were all those moments were like more like philosophically band moments. Never like band member moments where you stuck in today. That was never part of the. And I
So
think
you guys are good.
yeah, of course.
No, it's
And
the
I think it goes back as well to just a general Simple Plan attitude where we always feel like we're the underdogs, and like with every album it's like we have to pretend we're a new band.
Yeah.
We have to pretend we're a new band and we have to at the same time remember who we are and remember who our fans are. So like we're always constantly stuck in that sort of frame of mind when we're making albums, and it's kind of sometimes it takes longer, but it drives us, it motivates us.
But I think overall, there's never been like a band meeting where we go like, man, this
Your
record-
looks have become a problem. That doesn't
or
happen.
this record is not good enough, we're not gonna go, or we don't feel like doing this anymore. Actually, quite the opposite. It was more like, fuck, like we need to get going, we need to put this out, we need to finish it, we need to go back on the road. But there's definitely been moments where, it's late at night and you think about the record. It definitely took a toll on us, this album. But it's funny, now that it came out, it's almost like I didn't forget all that time that was difficult, but it's almost like now I really feel it was all worth it because the reaction has been really incredible so far from the fans. Like so many people come up to me and like, man, I can't believe you guys pulled it off, but this is my favorite record of your 5 albums. And it's like after 15 years, if you're able to pull that off as a band, that's pretty big because most people always sort of like, the first, second record.
Whatever album got them into us will always be their favorite one, Like if they got on still not getting anything,
And
that's
I'm sure
gonna be,
that there's some people that still feel like
Of course.
that, and that's fine.
But it's like Star Wars. For some people, the newer one are never going to be the old, but that's a different time, different
That's a
everything.
good comparison.
Yeah,
but,
it's great.
But
amazing
I've never
comparison.
seen. I don't think I ever had a record since maybe when we started. People come up to me and say like, man, like I love this album from top to bottom, every song. So. And it was tough for us because for a while we had the song, but we couldn't play it for people, and we're like, just wait, just be patient, hear the full record,
Yeah.
And now people are finally see the whole sort of vision, and it feels really good. It feels like kind of vindication in a way, not like in a mean like revenge kind of way, but just in a I told you like that you're gonna like it, and and I'm just glad that we didn't let the fans down and that they love it, and it feels very very sweet and very great right now to have the music out and have people come out to the show, and us playing 4,000 people tonight, like another sold out show in Prague. It's fucking awesome,
That's awesome. I'm really proud of you guys. Like you
Well,
guys
thank you.
made such a great record, and I know how much work you put into it. So
Can you imagine, like, if the record sucked, like, SimplePlan.cz's would just go down the drain?
Oh my
Like, your
God.
website would
What
start,
would I
no
do?
traffic,
Yeah,
nobody
you
would
depend
care.
on us.
You would depend on this
Yeah.
album being, the way it is. So, good for you as well. I'm proud of you as well.
Thank you.
We're all a
That's-
team.
Yeah, we're such a team.
Yeah.
Speaking of team, taking one for the team, the photo shoot was very interesting. It's very funny. It's very like sports related. But you did the photo shoot in like June, July last summer, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you didn't have the album title
No.
until like later that year. So were you thinking about more like sports related titles, or would you even settle for one that wasn't sports related if it fit the record?
I think most of them sort of had the
No, we
double,
wanted to have-
double entendre, yeah.
And we
Yeah.
wanted to have like, we kind of wanted to link up with
Yeah.
the artwork, and that's what we came up with first. Like you're saying, the concept and everything, and then we had all the photos and everything, and we just were racking our brains like, what could make sense for this band, and for the photos and the art, what could sort of tie everything together. And I think when we had a few, we had a bunch of options, and we kept talking. I think in November we decided.
Yeah.
I think when
I think
we
the
were
word
on-
team felt very important,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt it was a cool concept because the whole idea started with team. So we had to find something that, like, we kind of knew we wanted to include the word team, and we had to sort of find, okay, what expression or what would sort of symbolize the art and the band. And I think when we found that, we were like, alright, that's it.
Yeah,
Feels good.
there was a few other good ones, so I think they'll end up being maybe like tour titles at some point, or
So
yeah.
there's no chance you're gonna tell me.
No, not right now.
No.
Of course not. No.
There are some really good ones.
Yeah, there's a really good one. Yeah.
Okay then. No, I completely forgot all my questions.
Ah, paper.
Paper.
You're so good about
I'm
the paper.
cheating. This is terrible. Sorry. All right.
I look at my paper during the set all the time.
Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about is there was this interview you did with Alternative Press, you and Pierre, recently.
Uh-huh.
I'll just stand up.
No. Sit down. And in this interview, you were kind of accused of being whores for choosing a different producer for each album.
Yes. Yeah.
But I want to go a different way because when it comes to music video directors, you've been pretty consistent in the past couple of years. So because in the beginning you used to use Frank Boren quite a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
6, 7 music videos, and now it's Mark Staubach. So what makes you choose the same director? Is it like friendship because you're friends with him, or is it something else there?
Friends, extremely talented.
Yeah.
Him and Chuck work great together.
Mhm.
Like they really come up with really, really good ideas, and we know Mark can pull it off. You know, I mean, like he'll get the shots and he'll make it look the way we, that he knows how we like to be portrayed, and he just
I
does
think
it.
that there's a comfort level that comes
Yeah.
in, and it's like sometimes it's a little exhausting to start over with new people for like 4 videos every record, like 4 different people, explain to them what the vision of the band is. So it's cool when you find somebody that sort of gets it. And also I think for Mark, the one thing I'll say about him is that he's kind of like our band. He doesn't really count the hours. Like he's very passionate about what he does, and he'll like a lot of guys will work. Okay, well I've made the best I could do, and that's enough. But he'll like. It's like us. It's never good enough. He's always gonna be game to like invest more time, more energy in it, and he's really like it's a love project for him. It's like it's not just like not just a job. I think that we get along because he has the same mentality as us. Like like when we did the Don't Want to Go to Bed video, we had like a first version and it was cool, but it was missing some stuff, some elements, and we called him back like, man, we need to do like another shoot, like another day, and we ended up like. Spending our own money to make it better, and like, and going back and filming some more stuff, and it's like, and he was like, yeah, man, I'm game, and it wasn't like.
And then it was amazing, and then it was
great.
It
came out
then
so
it was
much better.
so good.
Because like,
so
if we didn't do that, not the same video.
Yeah.
Not as good,
Yeah.
not as funny. So he has the same mentality that we do, and I think that's why we keep going back to him. And Frank was the same way, and I'm still really good friends with Frank. I think we'll definitely work with him again.
Yeah.
He's great, but it's just a question of right now. It just feels right. That
Frank is busy though.
Yeah,
we turned him into like it's
Superstar.
as
made
soon as
it
he was
big.
done, like he became this big shot director now. Yeah.
That's
He
awesome.
comes
for
here
him,
a
right?
lot actually, I think.
Yeah, he
Doesn't he?
films a lot in these.
Actually,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
met him in my hometown.
Yeah,
I
there you
live in
go.
the second biggest city, and I met him there. Yeah.
There you go.
It's awesome. Yeah. So it's kind of being said left and right that this year pop punk is making sort of like a comeback. So there's like bands like you and Good Charlotte releasing new stuff. So do you think there's something? So it's just coincidence, or is there something like more behind this whole resurgence of pop punk?
I think most people were just waiting for the Simple Plan album to. Can
To release their own album and everything.
No, it's funny because, with the radio show, I'm always looking for bands, and
Yeah.
there's always amazing pop-up bands putting out albums, always. But for some reason this year, like everybody's sort of looking at that. There's Neck D that's doing well, and then State Champs, and then a lot of bands that were on Warped when we did Warped recently, and they're just obviously come from that genre, but make it their own, like bands like Paris and all them, and then obviously now Good Charlotte's coming back, and us. I don't know what it is about this year, but I just feel like people are sort of looking at it again for some reason.
Well, I think it's funny. It never went away, and
No, it's
I
there.
don't think it ever will because it's high energy, really catchy and honest and heartfelt, lyrics, content, and I think that people will always be able to relate to that. I think that sort of the trademarks of this style of music will never go away. And that's why there keeps being new bands that want to do this style. I think it's rad this year, like you're saying, Good Charlotte, Blink-182's making a new record. They're coming
Finally.
back. I think the big difference between us and some of the other bands is that Sum 41's coming back too, which is exciting. But the big difference is that they all took like a hiatus, or they all stopped making records. For us, even though it took us a long time, we never stopped being in a band. So it's interesting. I think there's like a resurgence because maybe it's been 15, 20 years since like the bands that were like at their height, at the highest level, and now people are like, they were 15, 13, 18 at the time, and now they're, whatever, 25, 30, 35, 40, and I think that when you get to that age, you start to look back on your teenage years and the music that was part of it and all the memories, and you start to miss that, and you feel like a little bit like nostalgic for it, and I think that there's a little bit of that going on. A nice little segue.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of that going on where it's like people miss maybe when times were more simple in their lives, and when music mattered so much to them, and now they want to hear those songs again, and they want to hear new songs in that same style, and I think maybe that's why the style's making a comeback, and I think that for us it's exciting. We've never stopped doing it, but to have people maybe that didn't pay attention for a few years pay attention again is awesome. It's exciting, and I think that it's only gonna make the shows bigger and the album bigger, hopefully, and yeah, so it's cool.
You know what we should do maybe for the next album? Like when we start writing and recording, we'll just say we're in hiatus.
That's what we should have done.
And then when we get back, and then
please don't even say
we
the
just
word
say
hiatus.
it while we're writing,
Don't
and then as soon as
say that we're gonna
that.
do that, because then I think it's fake.
yeah, we would never do that. Never would we do that.
Yeah, that's so lame.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. My last question. So there's a couple of references on this regarding this new record that kind of reference your old stuff. Like there's the video for Opinion Overload that kind of references I Do Anything.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all these little things, and I'm not really sure if they're intentional, but I feel them as references. Like I don't know, for example. Chuck, your face is pretty messed up on the photo shoot, and it kind of reminds me of I'm Just a Kid.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Then, and then you're playing tennis on the photo shoot, and it reminds me of the not album cover, the magazine cover from When I'm Gone.
Yeah.
Like, is this intentional or
Sort of. Well, I mean, for the tennis thing, I remember having Chuck, I want to be the tennis guy. I'm already the tennis guy in the other thing, And I think it's just. I think with the point of Opinion Overload was to show that we're still the same band that loves to get on stage and get that energy, and that's what we were when we made the I Do Anything video. So there's definitely, and I use that guitar from Shut Up and Welcome to My Life, and so I mean, and then some of it's intentional.
Some of it is a little bit coincidental, but I think most of it.
I don't think the beat up face was a reference to I'm Just a Kid.
Yeah, I didn't think about. I think we always like doing photo shoots and things that are highly conceptual, that have a little bit of a storyline in them that will make people laugh and that show that we don't take ourselves seriously. So that has stayed throughout, I think, the history of all our album covers. If you look at there's always I love opening something as the story being told or something so that has always been on purpose.
The story of me yelling at you during tennis.
Exactly.
That's a good story.
But it's it has become a little bit of it's funny, it's almost like it becomes like a trademark or a shtick, and I think that it's not doing the same thing over and again. It's more finding something that defines your band and trying to always do it better and better. So if you look at all the album art, the first one was that whole sort of storyline around the wedding, and then the second one was us getting older, and fourth one was I guess we kind of skipped on the third one, something different, and I didn't like it. That's not the I look back at the art and I was I don't like that.
It's a little bit normal.
It's too it's too us trying.
It's to everybody.
There's no personality in it.
Yeah.
I think that this band's always been.
Those were darker times.
We always. I think it's always been about showcasing who we are as people and a sense of humor and everything.
And the fourth album, we just really wanted to play dress up, and then this one is
I think it's
sports.
cool that becomes a common thread between all the albums. So there's things that you do on purpose. That's okay, that's a trademark of the band. We want to always bring it back. And there's things that are just kind of weird coincidences. For example, for the video, the room, we found that room, we wanted to have a rock show kind of setting, but the fact that it looked so similar was honestly a little bit of a cool coincidence.
Yeah.
But when we saw it, I don't think it's exactly the same at all, but I can see the parallels, and that was cool.
But it's crazy because when we were talking about it, never once we referenced I Do Anything.
Right.
We didn't say okay, it's gonna be a cool performance I Do Anything. We just said cool performance. We'll shoot through the fans, and then when we saw it, we're Oh yeah, of course. You know, but that's cool. You know, we just thought it was
it
cool.
also shows like no matter what happened with the band in all the years, at the end of the day, the core of who we are is a live band, and that's what we want. We want this video to show. You know, I think hopefully we accomplished it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for the interview. It was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you.